गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय ऑल द assembled devotees की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat pranams to all of you. And today I've given the topic to talk about Janaka Maharaj. And the topic is Mahajans. And then we are starting with Janaka Maharaj today. So before going into the topic, first let us understand who these Mahajans are and how many of them are there, and a little bit about all of them. And if I just wanted to keep this session a little interactive, that's it. I might ask, like, few questions. If, of course, if it is possible for you, please answer. Otherwise, no problem. So, talking about Mahajans. In the Vaishnava tradition, the term Mahajan actually, it refers to great devotees or authorities in spiritual knowledge and practice. So Mahajans are considered exemplary figures whose lives and whose teachings provide guidance for all others on the path of devotion and devotees. essence. So there are 12 Mahajans mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, verse 20. They are, let me ask you some few questions. I'll mention their names, but I want you to tell me who they are. Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kapila, Swayambhu Manu, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami, Yamraj, Vyasadeva. So, can Mataji, anybody tell me like one line or few lines about Lord Brahma? Okay. So, Brahma is the creator of this universe and is one of the Gunavatar of the Lord. And so, I mean, just like one line. If it is possible, please go ahead and answer. Anybody knows about Narada?
Devotee
Narada
of
is a
Lord Vishnu.
Devarshi. Devarshi.
Yes. He is a
Spiritual
Devarshi.
master of everyone.
Excellent, Mataji. Correct. He's a great sage devotee. And the main thing is he travels through the universe spreading the glories of the Lord. And Shiva, anybody about Lord Shiva?
He is the first Vaishnava
Destroyer.
Desa.
Destroyer.
Oh, excellent. Yes, Shiva. And Kapila, Lord Kapila.
Kapila is incarnation of Sri Krishna, and he taught Sankhya Yoga, Mataji.
Excellent, Mataji. Swayambhu Manu.
Swayambhu Manu is
First Manu.
Prajapati.
He's a Prajapati. And he's one of the Mahajans. So, what could be special about him? Why is mentioned in this list?
Manu Samhita he read.
He did Manu Samhita. Manu Samhita is rules and regulations, but
Our ancestors.
yes, our ancestor is a devotee, very great devotee of the Lord. Yeah, very nice, Mataji. Prahlad.
The very great devotee of
One of the
Sri Krishna.
Mahajana.
One of the
Lord
Mahajans.
Vishnu.
Yes, Mataji, very great devotee. Janaka, which we are going to talk today. What do you know about Janaka?
Father of Sita Devi.
Mother
Yes,
Sita.
Mother
correct.
Sita.
The Mother Sita, yeah.
And
That's
he
it.
was even though he was a Grihastha, he led a very,
We have to follow Janaka Maharaja.
he led a very pious life, Mataji.
Excellent point. That's what we are going to discuss today. Yes, Mataji. Even though he is in Grihastha, he was a great karma sannyasi. Excellent. Bhishma Deva.
Bhishma oldest Pandavas.
He is the great grandfather of Pandavas and Kauravas.
He is also Mahajana.
He is also Mahajana, correct. All the list I'm asking is Mahajanas, Mataji. So, Bhishma Deva is known for his
Vishnu
great devotee.
Vishnu
Yes.
Sahasranam.
Correct.
Vasu. 7 Vasus.
Yes, and he is known for his vow of celibacy. His devotion
keeping
to Lord
promises.
Krishna. Yeah, correct. And Bali Maharaj?
Bali Maharaj is
He is the grandson of Prahlad Mataji. And,
Excellent, correct, Mataji.
and
What is the special
he was a
quality?
great devotee of Krishna Mataji, Sri Krishna.
Excellent. And he has given 3 boons to which incarnation of Lord Vishnu?
Vamana Avatar.
Vamana Avatar.
Vamana.
Excellent point. Sukadeva Goswami Mataji?
Is the son of Vyasadeva.
Vyasadeva, correct. And he is the...
And he taught Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj.
Bhagavatam to
Yes,
Parikshit
Mataji.
Maharaj.
Very important point is he is a speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Correct, Mataji. Very good. Yamaraja, of course, everybody knows, god of death, judge of death. So he upholds dharma. Vyasadeva?
Vyasadeva is
His incarnation of Sri Krishna, he wrote all the
Who
Puranas.
wrote all the Puranas, scriptures.
And scriptures. And he also divided all the 4 Vedas.
Vedas.
Very nice.
Finally,
Great
he has
answers.
written Bhagavatam.
Okay. He has written Bhagavatam. Correct, Mataji. So, very nice points from all of you. Thank you. So, these 12 Mahajans are revered, respected for their deep spiritual insights and their devotion to the Supreme Lord. And their lives and their teachings serve as a light for the devotees seeking to progress on process of bhakti. In other words, all these great Mahajanas are acharyas. Who is acharya? Acharya is a person who shows as his own example to others how to follow. And they are the great devotees of the Lord. And not only just, this aspect, but they were very well versed in all other aspects of the life. And that's why these great acharyas are Mahajanas. And they are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, their lives are very important. Today, we are going to talk about Janaka Maharaj, who is one of the great Mahajans. And we will talk about a little bit about his who is Janaka and why is this family called Janakas and what is his lineage. We'll discuss fast about lineage also, who were the before kings and till Janaka, and we'll talk about his kingdom. And the most important point, we'll talk about his qualities, great qualities. And we will talk about his devotion and what is the message he's giving to the world, and what are our takeaway points. Because from anyone's life, why we learn about these Mahajans or these great personalities is we learn from them. So what are our takeaway points? Like what do we learn from their life and what we can implement? That's why these great personalities have been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are manuals. Like we need to refer every day, every till the point, like every minute, every day, we need to live with these values. So let us talk about Janaka. So King Janaka was also known as Videha. He is Raja Janaka or Videha. Videha means all these kings in this kingdom, they have, Videha means one who is not in the body consciousness, one who knows that he is a spirit soul and not this body. That's why they are mentioned as Videha. And so this great person, Janaka, is known for his wisdom. He is known for his exemplary leadership, righteousness, detachment, devotion, and he was a king of Mithila. And Mithila is, I think, present day Bihar, I think. So I remember reading somewhere, it is present day Bihar, Mithila. Okay. So now going to the lineage and the kingdom. Now lineage, Janaka belonged to the lineage of like Harsharoma. Nimi was the first king, who was his ancestor and the founder of this Videha kingdom. And the general list of the kings in Janaka's lineage leading up to Janaka, we'll just name them and we'll try to see. Nimi is a very great devotee and very great king and the founder of Videha dynasty and the first king of Mithila. And his son is Mithi, the son of Nimi, after whom Mithila is named. Janaka one is Udvasu. Is all the kings in this kingdom are known as Janakas by this king actually, Janaka one who is Udvasu. So they all are mentioned with their names and with the title as Janaka because of this great king Udvasu, who is Janaka one, he is used, like this word is used due to the tradition established by the first Janaka known as Janaka one or Udvasu. So Janaka himself, it's a dynastic title. So Janaka primary means, Janaka means generally the Sanskrit word is father, right? Progenitor. So the word Janaka can also imply creator or originator or someone who brings something new. In the broader sense, it can be like, understood as someone who initiates or give rise to new ideas or paths. So now Janaka one, like, the first king, with whom like the whole family is named as Janakas, was actually very, very renowned for his wisdom, piety, and good governance. His legacy was so impactful that all the further kings, like, later kings, subsequent kings of Mithila, adopted the title Janaka to honor and continue his legacy. So this tradition, like, continuation of the virtues and the principles of this righteous rule, ensuring the legacy of Janaka one lived on through ages to all the kings of Mithila. So his son is Janaka II, Nandivardhana, and his son is Suketu, his son is Devaratha, his son is Brihadratha, and his son is Mahavira, and Mahavira's son is Sudipti. The son of Sudipti is Drishtaketu. Drishtaketu's son is Hayarsva, and his son is Maru. Then his son is Pratindhika, and his son is Kirtiratha, and then his son is Devamida, Vibhuda, Mahadriti, Kirtiratha, Mahorama, Sarvorama, and Harsvorama. Or this is Harsvorama is a father of our famous king Janaka, whom we are going to talk about today. So the king Janaka, whom we are going to talk about today, is Siradvaja Janaka. His actual name is Siradvaja, and he is a son of Harsvaroma. And of course, the title Janaka goes. Now here, today we are going to discuss about Siradvaja Janaka, the most renowned king Janaka, and he is a father of our mother Sita. So in this lineage actually highlights a long tradition of Videha dynasty and its association with wisdom, righteousness, and devotion. So it's coming in that family actually. They are all very great. So each king named Janaka in this lineage, they upheld the principles and values that made Mithila a significant kingdom. And let us talk few points about kingdom and then we'll go. So this kingdom of Mithila is important. Like, it was a cultural, a philosophical, and so much spiritual contributions it has done. And it serves it was a center of learning. And everybody, association with the Janaka's actually court was a hub for all these great sages and scholars. And he frequently engaged in philosophical debates and discussions with them, and which uh, definitely it adds on, right? It adds on to enrich the kingdom's intellectual and spiritual atmosphere. So it was all spiritual atmosphere there. And it was a center of learning. And Mithila was known for its educational institutes. And so the point why this is important is because definitely these kingdoms, when we talk about Ayodhya, when we talk about Mithila, they're very great places. We should before going into the details of the kings who lived there, the whole kingdom was great, and the kingdom itself, the place itself was spiritually surcharged. And now King Janaka's rule, generally, if we talk in the general, it is a perfect example of governance. He balanced his kingly duties with spiritual practices. That's why he is an example for Karma Yogi. That we will see in detail. So the governance in Mithila was mainly focused on righteousness, dharma. And he instituted a system where the voices of his people, like just like democracy, in democracy, everybody gets a chance to speak up. Even in the kingdom of Janaka, people had the voice. He actually, they had a system where the voice of the people were heard, and justice was delivered impartially, and his court was open to all, and he personally attended to the grievances of his people. This earned him a love and respect of his subjects, of his people, who saw him not just as a ruler, but as a wise and guardian, caring guardian. So this kingdom's reputation for justice not only attracted other kings, they all used to respect him, but it attracted many sages, many great scholars, many people who were well versed in philosophy, spirituality. Even they used to come because this kingdom was so great, with so great kings. They all used to come, and they used to take participation in the discussions which used to go on there, which further enhanced its status as center of learning. Now let us go to Janaka, our main king. So let us see what are the qualities of Janaka. So the first quality we will start with is wisdom. Janaka was famous for his deep understanding of philosophy and spirituality. He was an ideal king who managed his royal responsibilities while focusing on the sadhana, spiritual practices. Now, how do you know that Krishna is happy with all the endeavors you are doing? See, we know that we are doing so many devotional services, right? In our life, we do chanting, we do Mangalarti, we do Kirtan, we do so many things. How do we know that Krishna is happy with all the endeavors we are doing? Now, what is the measurement which tells us that is Krishna happy with my endeavor or not? I am doing, but Krishna also should be happy, right? How do you know whether he's accepting us or not? The answer to this is, if you are getting interest to listen to the Katha of Lord Hari and his devotees, then or if you are interested to getting interest in satsang, then you need to know that Lord is happy with your endeavors. And these endeavors can be anything, like doing any good activities and devotion. Why? What is the proof? Because we never talk anything just like that. We give proof and we talk, right? So this is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So here he says, Sutta Goswami says, Dharma swanatishta pumsa vishvakseno katha ya notpadayad yadiratam shramayevaihi kevalam. So here he's saying dharma. When he's saying dharma, what does it mean? It is like occupation, the varnashrama dharma, which we all are doing. So our occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not give interest in attraction to the message of personality of Godhead, his pastimes, and his devotees' pastimes. So if we are getting interest to know about the devotees of the Lord, that means Lord is happy with us. If we are getting interest in understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, that means Lord is happy with us. Then only we can hear, we can relish. Because when we hear, we relish, the Lord will actually he reveals himself to us. So the first process is what? For all this devotion to happen, the first process is our interest for the Lord and his activities and his devotees' activities. So when we give time to for listening this is a very great anga of bhakti. Listening, shunu, tat shunu. So when shunu happens, when listening happens, what happens? It gets interest. It gets our interest, and therefore we do satatam kittayantuma. When we start loving somebody, we glorify them. We start singing about them. When we glorify and start singing about them, what happens? Then the Lord says, Ananyas chintayantoma yejana paryupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. Who is taking care of our responsibilities, our yogam, our kshemam? The Lord will. And for that, what is the first step? The first step is listening. So that's why when we are doing so many activities, but how do you know Krishna is happy with us? The point that if you are getting interest to listen about Lord and his devotees is the like a kind of a measurement which shows that yes, Lord is happy with you, and that's the reason why you are having interest to listen. Coming to our Janaka. So one of the most notable examples of King Janaka's wisdom is his interaction with sage Yagyavalkya. Yagyavalkya is in one way Janaka's guru actually. So both of them, their conversations are recorded in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the conversations which has happened between Yagyavalkya and Janaka are few chapters are there. Like so much of conversation happened. Now, one more example is there was a big yajna which was held by King Janaka. So many sages were invited, including Yagyavalkya. And who was actually, this was the first interaction Janaka has with Yagyavalkya, his guru. So he was also invited. So all these people, they come. And then Janaka actually wanted to learn more about spirituality and about what is the essence of our life, why we take birth and what is karma and all these basically the questions about a spirituality. He made a special offer. What he said? He said he would give 1,000 cows decorated with gold to the wisest person who has come there. Just after hearing this offer, Yagyavalkya heard this and he confidentially calls his disciples and says that take all the cows home. Like all these cows which he wants to give, they belong to me, take home. And all the other sages are like, how can you do that? We are also sitting here. And of course, we are not asking out of greed for the cows, but then without even taking part in the debate, without even talking anything, how can you take them home? You're ordering your disciples to take them. And Yagyavalkya says, because I know I'll be the winner here. Then they are like, how can you decide like that? We will ask you questions, you answer. So they will be asking questions on and on and on. And Yagyavalkya answers them very nicely, giving so many references from the scriptures and quotes so many topics, and then references from all different kinds of Vedas and everything. And Yagyavalkya is very well versed in Shukla Yajur Veda. And of course, he has learned Krishna Yajur Veda from Vaishampayana, but then he gives it back to his guru because guru was not happy with it. But he is actually he writes books like about Krishna Yajur, Shukla Yajur Veda, which he learns from Lord Suryadeva. And one important point about Suryadeva before going why is Surya that great? We'll just discuss one point and we'll go. See, Surya, why Krishna has chosen Surya to be one of the great universal faiths to take care, and one of the Sakshi is because he had two qualities which are very exemplary. One is he never takes rest and he never takes vacation and he is equal to all. This quality Krishna loves, and that's why he picked up Suryadeva. So when Hanuman actually comes to Suryadeva and says, I want to, because Surya is a guru of Hanuman also, he says, I want to learn Vidya from you. Surya says, you can learn, but I will not stop my work. I will be doing my work, and if you can learn in the meanwhile, you can learn. Then he's like, so what is that I'm supposed to do? I'll be walking, I'll be going because I have to take care of the universe, and I'll be doing that. In the meanwhile, if you, without stopping me, if you can take, knowledge, you can. So what Hanuman does is, He stands in front of the Surya, and as Surya is walking, he keeps his pace in such a way that he should not turn back, because you cannot turn back from your guru. So you need to like face the guru and learn at the same time. So he walks with guru, and then Surya is teaching him all the knowledge. So this is the effort they put. Why I have taken this example is, when we generally say, when the class is going on or something is going on, we generally think I am giving time. No, it's not that. Like, the when the guru is giving, or anyone to the matter of fact, anyone, like, the Bhagavatam is giving so many lessons, Bhagavad Gita is giving so many lessons. We need to have that humility in us, then only the knowledge will come. So this is how, why Surya's topic has come, is because Yagyavalkya also learned this science from Suryadeva. And he has learned Shukla Yajurveda from him. Now, Janaka Maharaj learned so many lessons, and the conversations that followed were deep and covered important topics in the philosophy. And there the sages talked about the nature of self, Atma, and the Brahman, Paramatma, and ultimate liberation, moksha. And these talks were not just intellectual debates, but meaningful discussions to understand the fundamental truths of existence. Now, King Janaka's involvement in these talks was so impressive that even though he was a king, he showed a sharp mind and real desire to learn. And he had, most of all, the most important quality he had is he has humility to learn. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te gnanam gnanam tattvadarshina. You can have tattvadarshina only if you show that humility and learn, respecting the guru, not testing him. So this is the mood. So he had this ability to understand the complex philosophical ideas because of the grace of the guru also. And King Janaka is a very good listener. He listens carefully and asks smart questions, not in the mode of testing somebody, but asking out of inquisitiveness. So he shows his eagerness to understand the ultimate truth, and his humility and willingness to learn from sages, even though he is a king. He reflects his wisdom and spiritual maturity. So this was the first quality we have discussed about Janaka, like how great is his wisdom. Next is, we will talk about his detachment. Why detachment is important? Because Kunti Devi, in the prayers, Kunti's prayers, she actually says this quality is one of the great qualities. She says, Namo akinchana vittaya, nivritta granavittaye, atma ramaya shantaya, kaivalya pataye namaha. She says, O Lord, my respects unto you, who belong to those who have nothing material. You are not affected by good or bad things in the material world. You are completely satisfied within yourself. Because of this, you are very gentle and master of those who seek liberation. What does this mean? This means, in other words, this verse is basically praising the divine quality of the Lord, that he is beyond material world and being a source of peace and fulfillment for those who are not attached to material positions. This point, this topic is important. Reason is because when we say detachment means people think that leaving everything and going. No, it's not that. Detachment is, even though you're doing things, you don't have attachment to them. Like, no one should be more important in our life than Krishna. That's a final point. Like when we understand something, what is that we learn in our life, and slowly we are doing our sadhana, it should create a detachment in our heart to a level that at one point we don't even care for this body. We are only waiting for Lord's grace. So it should slowly go to that level. That's why this understanding this detachment point is important. So King Janaka is praised for his kingly duties, balancing his kingly duties with spiritual practices, and his life shows how to be detached, how to have this vairagya while still taking care of worldly responsibilities. So detachment means you don't have to leave everything and run away. No, you can take care of things and at the same time be detached. So the life of Janaka is life of detachment, performing one's duties perfectly without attachment to the fruits of action. So just like how it was mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And we can take so many examples, like so many acharyas. All our acharyas show this quality very well. Of course, Goswamis, we can see, we can example of Goswamis who renounced their worldly possessions for the service of Lord. And it is like, despite their previous material opulence, they were very great, important, they had very great, important positions in the government at that time. They left everything. And then in comparison to the treasures of Lord's lotus feet, they left everything. So this, their example shows that true renunciation, true detachment, true vairagya is not simply giving up material possessions, but rather exchanging them for something more valuable in spiritual terms. Like we can take the example of Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and others who gave up their worldly or prosperity, whatever they had, for the sake of service of Lord. And they were, of course, before, like, they were very big in world, had very nice positions. So these Goswamis were ministers in government service of Bengal. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, the son of big zamindar of that time. But they left everything to gain something superior, what they have previously possessed. Like as an eternal soul, we are part and parcel of the Lord. And we need to understand that our constitutional position is to serve the Lord. So devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of Lord. And there is a nice story about this Sanatana Goswami also, that he had this Chintamani, touchstone, and a needy man comes there to ask him if he can help him in somewhere. Then Sanatana Goswami says, yeah, I left this touchstone in that trash or garbage. You can go and take it. Then this person thinks, oh, touchstone he has left in the garbage means he must be having something valuable than that. Then he comes and asks, touchstone is like, Chintamani is capable of giving so many riches and everything. How come you left it in the trash? Because Sanatana Goswami says, I got more valuable than that. And he's like, what is that valuable thing you are like, can you give me also? Then he says, yes, it is a devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. Then that person understands, because see, when the purity, when there is purity in the heart, when message is coming with the pure sense, it goes directly. So that person understood it, and immediately he also gives up, because this is the purity of that Goswami, that he also becomes a devotee of the Lord. Like this, we can take so many examples. And one, like, of course, these examples we always talk about, like in Goswamis, and they, because they all come in our sampradaya. But people like who do not come in our sampradaya, various Vaishnava acharyas are also great. We can take one small example of Vedanta Desikan. Vedanta Desikan is from Sri Sampradaya, very great devotee of the Lord. And he was like, so much detached. Actually, he used to go beg every day. And then once, like, somebody who liked him a lot, they mixed gold coins with the rice, raw rice, and he gives him. He brings it home, and his wife is like, she says that, oh, these are gold coins in this. What to do? He says, simply how you will take out worms from the rice, remove like that. Because we have to totally depend on the Lord. We cannot think like, today we have gold coins and then tomorrow I can relax. No. Every single minute we need to depend on the mercy of the Lord for the next day. So that's his mood. And because people used to think, oh, he's so poor, and everybody wanted to help him, but he never would take anybody's help. One day, one brahmachari comes and he says that I'm not getting married because I'm not financially good. Nobody is giving me girl. Then he says, okay, don't worry, come with me. And he takes him to Mother Lakshmi's temple. And there he goes, and then he sings this Sri Suti. When he sings this Sri Suti, she's so happy, the mother is so happy that actually she gives so many gold coins, like all the gold coins fall. And Vedanta Desikan says, take this and you can go and then use this, get married. Then the person asks, you are capable of pleasing Mother Goddess so easily. How come you undergo so much poverty? He's like, this is not poverty. This is a diksha. This is a journey, towards the lotus feet of my Lord. And that requires this detachment, and that's why I'm not interested in worldly pleasures. So there are so many examples, like, when you go in our scriptures, we can find innumerable examples like this. So this is regarding the detachment. So Janaka's detachment. Once what happens, Yagyavalkya actually tested Janaka's detachment by setting his palace on fire. So Janaka, actually, the fire breaks out in Janaka's palace, causing chaos and panic among his courtiers. Everybody is running. They rush to save their belongings. We would also do the same thing, right? If there is fire broke out, what do? We rush. We go save our belongings. But Janaka was the only person who was sitting calm and composed, unaffected by what has happened. Then people came and said, why are you so calm? Janaka explains that he is not attached to worldly possessions. He says he has nothing to lose because he understands that material wealth and worldly attachments are temporary. But this incident does not show that Janaka is irresponsible, that he is not even trying to save something. This is Janaka's deep spiritual understanding and his grasp of true nature of existence. His detachment for the worldly possessions doesn't come from a lack of care or kind of like irresponsibility, but it is a wisdom that goes beyond temporary pressures of material world. It shows his inner peace and his ability to stay calm, like in any kind of situation. That is a great quality of Janaka. So this is a powerful lesson on importance of detachment and the pursuit of inner peace. So King Janaka's calmness during the fire is not about ignoring the danger or being irresponsible. Instead, it reflects his deep spiritual realization. He understands that basically he demonstrated this in his life, that material possessions are temporary and inner peace is what we need to care. And his calmness shows his wisdom and ability to stay composed. So Yagyavalkya, when he tested Janaka, he understood that no, this person is a master. You don't have to test him. So of course this was a test, and then he again becomes everything again sets off. And another example we can take is Lord himself is taking Janaka as an example in Bhagavad Gita in 3:20-21. Karmanyeve samsiddham asada janakadaya lokasangraham eva api samspashyam kartum arhasi. And he says, Yadyat acharati sreshtas tattat eva tarojana swayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. So he says, Lord is saying, taking Janaka as an example and saying by performing their prescribed duties, King Janaka and others attained perfection. You should also perform your duties to set an example for the good of the world. At the same time, you cannot give up your responsibilities. You have to do for showing as an example. Why? Because whatever actions great persons perform, common people follow. So if we don't, and then if the person even is at a detached level doesn't work, people will learn that. And that's the reason why it is important to work also. So King Janaka is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna as an example of enlightened ruler who performs his duties without attachment. And he is an example for Karma Yoga. And so where, kings Krishna mentions Arjuna to learn from Janaka about Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action, or you can Nishkama Karma Yoga. Learn this Nishkama Karma Yoga from Janaka. So despite being a king with many responsibilities, Janaka did his duties with detachment, focusing on the greater good without selfish motives. This shows Janaka's wisdom in using spiritual principles in daily life and helping both himself and everyone around him. And let us talk about the next quality of Janaka, which is righteousness. He upheld Dharma in all aspects of his rule, ensuring that his kingdom was governed by justice and fairness. King Janaka, famously, of course, he was the father of Sita. He found her while plowing a field and adopted her as his daughter. And the story of Sita's marriage, everybody knows, like how is a significant part of Ramayana. And Sita, as eternal consort of the Lord, is believed to have chosen King Janaka as her father because of his exceptional virtues and qualities. This choice reflects the deep spiritual significance of Janaka's character. And giving his daughter Sita in marriage to Lord Ram is considered a highly virtuous act in, generally Kanyadan is giving daughter to someone, and it brings a lot of spiritual merit. And giving Lord to Supreme Lord, we can imagine how immense spiritual merit he can get. So King Janaka's act of this Kanyadan to Supreme Lord is considered extraordinary, earning him so much spiritual merit. And so the story of Janaka and Sita's relationship serves as an example of selfless devotion, virtue, and his righteousness. And also the challenge, to make sure that Sita gets married to a worthy groom is at a challenge that whoever, breaks this Shivadhan, Pinaka, the groom, the bow was very heavy and incredibly hard to lift. So why? Because he saw Sita while growing up that she was an extraordinary child with great abilities. So therefore he arranged this Swayamvara and called many princes and kings from various regions to come to Mithila to participate in this Swayamvara. But of course, none could even lift the bow. When Rama, accompanied by his brother Lakshmana and sage Vishwamitra, arrived there, he effortlessly lifted and he strung and broke the bow also, demonstrating his divine strength and worthiness. Now here, Janaka's righteous decision. After seeing Rama's remarkable abilities, Janaka quickly understood his extraordinary qualities and divine nature. He declared Rama the winner of Swayamvara and offered Sita's hand in marriage to him. So Janaka's decision was not influenced by wealth, power, or status of other suitors, but was based solely on Rama's merit. Our Lord Rama also has proved it by lifting that Shiva bow and then stringing it, and in that process it broke also. So, so this is because of Janaka's great qualities, Lord Vishnu, who is Lord Rama, himself became his son-in-law. So one more example we can take is when Rama was sent to forest for 14 years because of the promise made by his father Dasharath to Kaikeyi, Bharat actually returned to Ayodhya and he found that Ram, Lakshman and Sita were gone. So Bharata, unaware about what has happened, was deeply upset and he wanted to resolve this by bringing Rama back. So he set out to find him, eventually reached Panchavati where Rama, Sita and Lakshmana were staying. So so there actually Bharata did not go alone. He took everyone with him. He took Vasishta came, all the queens came, all the great personalities, they all came. So at Panchavati, several great personalities were present, including sages and kings also. So many great personalities, everyone were there. Among them was King Janaka was also there. Janaka was also called and he also came, who had come to visit and offer support to his daughter Sita and son-in-law Ram. Now, Bharata actually begged Rama to come back to Ayodhya and take his place on the throne. He explained that he didn't want to rule and believed that Rama, as a rightful heir, should be the king. So Bharata showed his deep love and respect for Rama, expressing his readiness to serve him as a loyal follower. And what was Rama's response? Rama remained firm in his decision to go and take this 14 years of exile. Why? Because he wanted to respect his father's promise and he stressed the importance of following dharma and fulfilling one's responsibilities. And even if it meant sacrificing personal desires. So he had to follow the dharma of keeping the father's word. Rama didn't want to go. At that time, Bharata was going and pleading everyone to, make Rama come and to convince Rama. He goes to Vasishta, he goes to all the queens, he goes to all these great sages and everyone. They all understood one point. Bharata's plight we can't see and Rama's decision is right. So they were not able to decide. So at that time, they all put their confidence in Janaka's hand. They says, even Vasishta actually says that you are the right person to give judgment of what should happen. So amidst these emotions, so much of emotion was going on, Janaka's wisdom and sense of justice stood out. Understanding the significance of dharma and keeping one's promise, Janaka supported Rama's choice to complete his exile. He said, no, you have given a word to your father, so you should go. So he realized that fulfilling one's duties and keeping commitments were of utmost importance. So the Janaka basically emphasized that Rama must fulfill the promise made by his father, King Dasharath. Breaking the exile would mean dishonoring this vow. So Janaka actually suggested that, yes, Bharata's request was also righteous because he didn't want to rule because he is not the first son, right? So he suggested that Bharata should govern Ayodhya as a Rama's representative until Rama returns. So this would ensure kingdom as well manage Rama's absence and maintain the continuity of royal responsibilities. Not only that, he actually offered his guidance and support to Bharata, assuring him that ruling in Rama's place is a righteous duty at that point of time. So Bharata, initially heartbroken, but accepted Janaka's wise advice because he also believes in Janaka's righteousness and his dharma. And therefore he took Rama's sandals and placed them on the throne representing Rama. symbolically ruling Ayodhya in Rama's name until his return. So Bharata's selfless act and Janaka's wise decision upheld the principles of dharma and righteous governance. So these are the lessons from Janaka's righteousness, upholding dharma. Janaka's decision, it highlights the importance of how important it is to adhere to dharma, and giving word to somebody, how to keep that word is very, very important. So even when it involves sometimes personal, sacrifice, personal, it involves a lot of personal discomfort still. So many times it does. So, but still we have to, cling on to dharma only. And his vows, his ability to provide wise and balanced advice is definitely highly emotional and complex. The reason is because if he says that Rama has to go exile, his daughter also will go. Knowing that, he says, no, the right decision is to go to exile. So this is where his excellence stands. And next is devotion of Janaka. Janaka was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu and practiced Bhakti Yoga. But devotion to Lord, of course, it is there. He used to engage in regular worship of Lord Vishnu, incorporating rituals and prayers into his daily routine. And this sadhana, he never, neglected. He did this sadhana very well. This is one more point we learn from these Mahajans. They give so much importance to sadhana. So sadhana is important. Why? Because we promise our Guru that we will do certain, rituals, a certain sadhana, like chanting japa, particular rounds, 16 number rounds, and then we follow the principles. So those things should be followed at any cost. And so beyond ritualistic worship, Janaka also practiced smarana, contemplating on Lord, focusing his mind on the Lord attributes of Vishnu. This helped him maintain a constant connection with the Lord. So thinking about Lord is a very important anga of bhakti, which Janaka has shown in practical example. So Janaka's spiritual journey, actually, we see that when we read Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, right, most of it is Advaita philosophy. And when we learn that his discussions with Yagyavalkya also had that Advaita philosophy, we will have a question that how come he was always inquiring and he was always, in association of this Advaita philosophy, how come he became the Bhakti Yogi? Because Bhakti Yogi is beyond all that. So this is an important, interesting thing which has, influenced Janaka. Janaka's spiritual journey, we can see that it progressed from being a Gnana Yogi to a Bhakti Yogi, with each stage representing a deeper level of spiritual realization. So how this changes is, he actually encounters Ashtavakra Muni. Ashtavakra Muni is, he is known for his, great devotion towards the Lord. So he's meeting with Ashtavakra, who was a realized sage. Ashtavakra is known for his wisdom and believed to have been born with 8 physical deformities, but then he was a very great devotee of the Lord. So when Ashtavakra Muni's teachings are said to have brought about a great shift in Janaka's consciousness from Gnana Yoga to Bhakti Yoga, leading him to realize the limitations of Gnana Yoga also. There are limitations to Gnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, whatever. So these limitations he understood very well, and then he has shifted to Bhakti Yoga directly. So therefore, leading him to realize more deeper and experimental understanding of the Lord. So that's how he has become the Bhakti Yoga. So the story goes like this: king was holding a grand assembly, and where discussions on various philosophical and spiritual topics were taking place. Ashtavakra Muni comes there. He was young actually, very highly learned and wise, and he arrived at the assembly, and upon hearing the discussions found fault with scholars' interpretations, because this is what is a reality, Bhakti Yoga, wherein you pray the Lord in a personal form is more important. So, of course, the scholars challenged it with Ashtavakra Muni, and finally, Ashtavakra accepted the challenge and defeated all the scholars with his superior knowledge and wisdom. So, Janaka understood this point very well, and therefore, he actually, impressed by Ashtavakra's wisdom, King Janaka engaged in philosophical discussions with him, learned so much from him, and finally, he became, this encounter with Ashtavakra is often seen as a meeting of 2 great minds, with Ashtavakra's wisdom guiding King Janaka towards Bhakti Yoga, or towards spiritual enlightenment. So this story serves as a reminder of importance of how being humble and being open to for the Guru to give us knowledge. And so Janaka is said to have shifted to Bhakti Yoga and the path of devotion alongside his knowledge. So this is the Janaka's fair and just rule of Mithila was a reflection of devotion also. Why? Because he believed that if he does this governing very well, righteously, it's a way to please Lord Vishnu, which is the goal of any Varnashrama Dharma. Why we do Varnashrama Dharma? To please Vishnu. So Janaka used to do that very well. And his compassionate treatment of his subject and commitment to fairness. And not only that, he inspired them in the devotion process also. So because of him, they all have become devotees. And when Rama's arrival, they all also have served Lord Rama very well. So this example, Janaka's devotion to Vishnu, served an example for his people in his kingdom, encouraging them to cultivate their own devotional practices. In his life actually showed how devotion can be integrated in daily responsibilities. And in scriptures, yes, Janaka is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita very with lot of reverence by the Lord, and Lord gives him as an example. And in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Janaka's questions, beautiful questions to Yagyavalkya had so many chapters. So even in scriptures, we can read about Janaka so many places. So this conversation which has happened, it covers a wide range of topics, including nature of self, concept of Brahman, relationship between Atma and the Paramatma, and universal self, and what is moksha and all these. So through their interaction, Janaka gains a deeper understanding of nature of reality and self, leading him to spiritual enlightenment. And what is the message? So finally, concluding this with few points, the message we learn and the takeaway points from Janaka's life. It shows an importance of balancing material responsibilities with spiritual growth. Both should be there. So he was a householder, just like any one of us, and he was a king who also achieved highest spiritual realization. So this balancing is important. We cannot leave one for the other. We have to do both because we are in the Grihastha ashram. So understanding the concept of dharma from his life, dharma refers to moral and ethical duties specific to an individual based on their role in the society or in the stage of life, in the circumstances they are in. In any kind of circumstances, dharma should not be left at any point. And we recognize and perform our duties without neglecting our spiritual practices. This ensures what? A harmonious life, basically a balanced life, neither material, not any spirituality is compromised. And prioritizing time for spiritual practices is important. Incorporate daily spiritual practices in such a way wherein you can, that influences your whole day. So it basically morning program is most important in our life. So, and also reading Prabhupada's books, scriptures and chanting is important. And allocate specific times of the day, especially morning, for the sadhana. And understanding that work as worship. Why? Because this work should be done as an offering on to Vishnu, then this work is the real work. And it is, you can when it is done as an offering on to Vishnu, that's a perfect work and that's a way to work. So perform your tasks with dedication and sincerity, considering them as a service to God. This attitude transforms all the material activities, whatever we are doing, into acts of devotion. It can also be changed into Bhakti Yoga and engage our duties without being overly attached to the results. This is what also we learn from Janaka's life. Focusing on performing our duties well, leave the outcome to a higher power. Our job is only to try. If it comes out good, yes, well, fine. Whatever is the result, that is leave to the Lord's decision. So this reduces basically stress and it cultivates a sense of peace and acceptance in us. And learning from these exemplary lives of these Mahajanas, study the lives of saints and sages who exemplify the balance between worldly duties and spiritual growth. It teaches us how to live here. And we draw inspiration from King Janaka, who ruled efficiently without compromising on his spiritual duties. And we present in whatever you are doing, whether it is spiritual practice or whatever, keep our mind where our hands are at work. So this should be, then in that case, we can do the best, we can perform to our best ability. And so setting spiritual goals is also important. Just like how we do career goals, we should have spiritual goals also, that I will read Bhagavatam before this age, and I will start increasing my chanting rounds. So these spiritual goals are also important. And having clear spiritual aspirations helps in maintaining focus and progressing steadily on spiritual path. And most importantly, balancing material and spiritual aspirations. So this way, if we work, we develop a supportive community, supporting each other, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who support both your worldly and spiritual goals. That's why we associate with devotees. And so why this supportive community is important for encouragement, for guidance, and for accountability, making it easier to maintain balance. So these are the important lessons we learn from Janaka's life. And it's a powerful example of how one can live in the world, fulfilling all responsibilities and yet remains unattached, spiritually advanced. His interactions with so many we have seen, like with sages, and his role as a father of Sita, and his philosophical contributions, it shows the depth of his character. And through his life, Janaka imparts the message of balancing duties with spiritual pursuits, leading with righteousness, dharma, and living a life of detachment and devotion. All these points are important. How we learn all this from these great people's lives. So I'll conclude the class here, Mataji. Any questions or comments or any points anybody has, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Vagisha Mataji. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna, Mataji.
Then sorry, I was at work, so I couldn't introduce you. So Mataji, I had the great opportunity to meet and associate with Mataji when His Holiness Loknath Maharaj was in Hyderabad. So Mataji is very sweet and we became friends. So great opportunity. Mataji, excellent Mataji, very nice. I learned a lot about Janaka Maharaj, some points that I didn't know. So thank you very much, Mataji. Others can ask questions to Mataji, please.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. You were explaining that how Janaka Maharaj managed his opulences as a king and as well as he was a rishi. In this context, Mataji, if you permit, there's a story about Narada testing Janaka Maharaj.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
You know, Mataji, you wanted to narrate?
Mataji, Narada Mahamuni advising King Janaka about being detached. You can go ahead, Mataji, if you.
No, there's actually a story. I don't know how it's like folk story. Somewhere I heard. So once Narada comes and he asks Janaka Maharaj, you are a Raja Rishi, you are a king, as well as you have a lot of opulences, and you are a karma yogi, as well as you are also a rishi. So he tests, how are you managing it? It's very difficult to balance both of these. So, and then Janaka says, okay, then he points out to a bowl of water, which is full to the brim. And then he says to Narada Muni, can you please hold this bowl and go around the palace without dropping a single water? And then he says, okay, I will accept the challenge. Then after you do this, I will tell you how I am balancing between being a king as well as a rishi. And then Narada Muni takes this bowl, and then Narada Muni gets very frustrated, very angry, because he was continuously seeing that, the water is up till the brim, and then not even a single drop should fall down. And then he goes around, he comes very fatigued, angry, and, he's a Vaishnava, but the story says that, he was very disturbed. And then he comes back. And then he puts the bowl. And then Janaka Maharaj says, okay, while you were carrying this bowl of water, what all did you observe while going? Did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see? And then Narada hastily he says, I did not see anything. I was only looking at this bowl, which is filled to the brim. And then I was making sure that nothing is falling down. I was only completely focusing on this bowl. And my only agenda was I should not drop a single drop of water. Okay. And then similarly, then Janaka said, okay, Janaka says, this is how I am actually balancing my life. And he says, you have not recollected anything. So similarly, he says, even though I constantly live under opulences, and as a king, I have so much opulences, and but simply I renounce and detach myself, just like the sages do. He says that yes, I am performing my kingly duties as a karma yogi. That I consider my duties to be my karma yoga, my dharma, and I'm also focused in my path of self-realization. So as a both of sage as well as the king at the same time, this is how I am actually being a Raja Rishi. And then
Very
he
nice.
talks about how, his five senses are the ones which experiences this mundane material world, and how he is detached and completely focused in self-realization. And then he says this is also one of the way which we can do. This is also vidhi which we can do and come to the path of self-realization. And then Narada was very amazed with this example, as well as how the same example he is practicing in his life.
Very nice. Very nice point, Mataji. Thank you so much for nice,
I
story.
remembered when you said the point about how he was balancing.
Yeah, very nice, Mataji. Thank you. I mean, I heard this story, but for some reason, I was thinking Krishna and Narada, but yeah, Janaka and Narada. Nice. Nice point, Mataji.
I don't know, but
Thank
I
you.
heard it this way. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. No, Mataji, very good. Actually, we can take next time when we, talk about Janaka Maharaj, this as an example too. Excellent point.